Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Lori Johnson.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. Washington is scrambling to warn 4 million current and former federal workers their personal information may have been stolen in a massive cyber attack. Meanwhile, the FBI and Homeland Security offices are investigating the data breach at the U.S. government's personnel office, and they say Chinese hackers may be responsible for breaking into the computer network. News of this massive cyber attack at the U.S. government's personnel office.
These cyber threats are a challenge to our national security.
Comes just months after President Obama convened a summit with the nation's top tech executives to sign an executive order for the government to work with private companies on cybersecurity threats. This is the largest breach of federal employee data we've seen. Hackers now have access to the sensitive personnel information of up to 4 million current and former government workers. And analysts warn it could be used for financial fraud, or worse, espionage. Security experts at the Government Cybersecurity Command Center discovered the breach back in April and believe the hackers work for China. It is still not clear how long the hackers had access to the personnel files, but it does appear to be the second attempt targeting the Office of Personnel Management. The same agency was targeted by Chinese hackers just 1 year ago. The office is responsible for conducting extensive background checks on federal employees. This breach is only the latest cyber attack on America's government agencies and major corporations by those working for foreign governments. Just last week came word the IRS had been compromised. And last fall, we learned the White House and State Department networks were attacked by hackers, believed to be from Russia. The government employees whose personal information may have been compromised in this latest breach are now being offered credit monitoring as well as identity theft insurance. The Chinese government is denying any responsibility for this cyber attack.
Lawmakers in California are advancing new right-to-die laws that would allow terminally ill patients to end their lives under a doctor's care. The California Senate passed the measure 23-14. Meanwhile, right-to-life advocates are speaking out about the dangers of the bill.
This is rife with problems. It not only is unbiblical, but it is really got a lot of problems with the legalities, informed consent, and in many ways it sets up a perfect crime because heirs, legal heirs, can be part of the request and the administering of the lethal drug.
The bill still faces several legislative hurdles before it could become law.
Former Olympian Bruce Jenner has been celebrated for his sex change operation. Advocates of gender reassignment surgery say the decision will help others to make the same choice. But one man who's undergone the surgery twice says that's not a good thing. Author and speaker Walt Heyer says the surgery did not solve his deeper psychological issues.
We know from not only from Johns Hopkins University, who was the one who launched the surgical program in the United States in 1966. After 10 years of doing the work, they interviewed people who had gone through the surgery and found that it was not effective in changing their attitude and or their life for the better.
Walter Heyer also stressed the church should have compassion on people struggling with gender confusion.
We need to be mindful that the church is really the place, it's a hospital for broken people. And as such, we need to be the people who administer assistance and guidance to those people who are suffering.
And you can see more of this interview at cbnnews.com.
National statistics show that 1 out of 6 women have faced rape in their lifetime. Another troubling fact, 98% of their attackers never spent 1 day in jail or prison. As Abigail Robertson reports, that's because evidence has been sitting, gathering dust in police labs and storage rooms across the country until now.
Overwhelmed crime labs, lack of money, and a reluctance to believe rape victims contribute to a nationwide problem. Thousands of untested rape kits, almost 10,000 alone in the state of Ohio.
We owed it to these rape victims to test these.
In 2011, Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine pledged to test all the kits, a move that has generated action. As of May, close to 80% of the untested kits had been analyzed. The results? More than 2,700 DNA matches and 300 arrests, resulting in 79 convictions. On average, each person matched has been linked to 10 crimes, and almost 30% are serial rapists. One of these predators is Dwayne Wilson. Serving time for another charge, Wilson was just 23 days from freedom when a DNA test linked him to a sexual crime spree. 20 years earlier, Wilson had raped multiple victims, often while holding a knife to their throats.
You snatched women off the street, you took them somewhere else, and you raped them. And you raped them viciously.
Prosecutor Mary Weston credits the discovery to finally testing the rape kits.
It is the only reason that we caught Dwayne Wilson for these crimes.
Lisa Bridges' attacker, Andrew Getson, lived freely for years.
After I was raped, I was broken. That man broke me. And it took years and years and years for God to fix me.
2 decades later, results from her long-neglected kit led to Getson's conviction.
When it came to me with this, it's like my life stopped. It stopped. It's like opening up a wound and pouring a lot of salt on it.
Detroit prosecutor Kim Worthy calls the testing debacle a nationwide embarrassment.
It shows that we as this country do not respect rape victims to the extent that we respect other victims.
There's new hope that more victims will see justice. Last year, Congress approved $41 million to go towards testing neglected rape kits across the country. Each kit has the potential to bring long-awaited closure to victims like Lisa and many others. Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
People in Colorado are dealing with powerful storms, and it may not be over. Forecasters say today could bring more tornadoes, hail, and flooding. At least 9 tornadoes touched down in northern Colorado Thursday. One man reported seeing part of a roof flying through the air. Another man dove under a tractor and then into a ditch to avoid an oncoming twister. Residents dealt with hail the size of quarters and flooding. Dozens of homes were destroyed or damaged, but so far there are no reports of injuries. The Red Cross is on the scene.
Operation Blessing is still on the ground in San Marcos and Wimberley, Texas, helping residents recover from devastating flooding. It's been 12 days since floods destroyed many communities in Texas. Operation Blessing has been on the ground since the beginning. Among the residents volunteers are helping this week are Amelia Perez and her husband. Volunteers are helping them pack their belongings and prepare their house for flood recovery. Operation Blessing also provided them with gift cards to buy groceries.
The board of Creflo Dollar's megachurch is moving ahead with plans to buy a very expensive private jet. They say the $65 million Gulfstream jet is essential for the Atlanta pastor to continue his international ministry and aid work. Dollar's appeal for millions in donations sparked a lot of criticism earlier this year. The board says a revamped video appeal for donations will soon be released. The ministry says they are asking for donations from like-minded people and not the public at large.
Coming up, could we be seeing the end of Islam as we know it? Hear why some experts believe that the fastest growing religion in the world could be on the verge of collapse when we return. Some reports say that Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, but there is another side to that story.
It is one you probably are not hearing about. Dale Hurd has more on why many Muslims are leaving their faith.
The headlines say Islam is going to be the largest religion in the world. But Islam is facing a crisis. The terrible deeds of ISIS, done in the name of Allah and following the violent example of Muhammad, have horrified many Muslims who are now questioning their faith. Missionaries to the Islamic world say more Muslims have converted to Christianity since 9/11 than during the entire 14 centuries of Islamic history. Many keep their conversions a secret, afraid for their lives. In London, this British college student from a Pakistani immigrant family left Islam after a lengthy study convinced him the Quran could not be true. We hid his face because Islam teaches that apostates must be killed.
If someone leaves Islam or becomes apostate, he is thrown out of his family His family will be the first one to abandon him. His friends will reject him. He will be killed or he will be persecuted. A lot of my friends, they said, okay, this is the last time we are talking to you because you disrespected Prophet Muhammad. You disrespected Islam.
Imran has not yet become a Christian, but has studied the Bible and says Christianity is superior to Islam. Some ex-Muslims become atheists, but some discover a God who loves.
Because of the ISIS, many people become Christian.
In Sweden, Pastor Fuad Rasho, himself an immigrant from Syria, has baptized more than 100 ex-Muslims.
Every week, I meet almost one or more who come to me. They come to me and like to know about Christianity, about Bible, because they are very angry. They are Muslim, as they don't like to continue to be Muslim.
When it comes to religion, Europe has been called the new dark continent, and some Muslims here feel trapped between atheism and radical Islam. But they see hope in Christianity. When Nassim Ben Iman came with his parents to Germany as immigrants from a Muslim nation, he remembers thinking that if Germany is a Christian nation, then Christianity is a dead, sinful religion.
Nakedness in the television is because of the Christian religion. Living together, not married, is because of the Christian religion.
But then Nassim discovered real Christianity and is today an evangelist reaching Muslims and non-Muslims for Christ.
When the people understand who Jesus is, they will more and more love Jesus and follow Jesus. And when the Muslims understand more and more what Muhammad is, what the Quran is, what the history is, then they will go farther away from Islam.
Islam is going to collapse.
Brother Rashid is the son of a Moroccan imam who lived for 15 years as a secret convert to Christianity. Now he hosts an Arabic-language Christian program called Daring Questions that challenges Muslims to question their faith.
Many Muslims actually, they say, if what ISIS is doing is Islam, I'm leaving it. Some of them are becoming atheists. There's a huge wave of atheism in the Arab world right now. And there is also a huge wave of conversion to Christianity following Jesus Christ. I have never seen something like this. Islam was never faced with this crisis before.
Nassim says Islam appears strong, but is only feeding off the spiritual void in many weak Christian nations.
Let me say, the greatest power of the Islam is the weakness of the Christians. That's what's happened in Germany and I think in America and all the Western countries.
Even while it seems that Islam is poised to overtake the West, Brother Rashid says Christians should not fear Islam, a faith that he is convinced is slowly dying.
Islam is not God's instrument to judge the West. I think people are afraid because of what they see on the news, but even violence is just a sign of collapse.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Up next, Beyond the Mask, can independent Christian filmmakers really produce an action-adventure movie that holds up? Stay tuned to find out.
Turning to today's edition of Family Entertainment News.
The creator of the much-loved television series Touched by an Angel has a new film hitting the small screen this weekend. Martha Williamson's Signed, Sealed, Delivered from Paris with Love premieres on the Hallmark Movies and Mystery Channel Saturday. This marks an expansion of Martha's Signed, Sealed, Delivered series, and her signature Laugh While You Cry style comes through yet again. We follow Postal Detective and his team of postables on a journey to deliver dead letters and change lives. I spoke with Williamson about the film and its message of faith and forgiveness.
I thought, how do we make the move from angels, who don't really have to have any faith because they know, they've stood at the throne, they know what the truth is, and then how do we explore what it means now to be a human being with faith who has to deal with that every single day? Those, blessed are those who see and believe, but even more blessed are those who have not seen and believe.
And you can find much more of our interview with Martha Williamson at cbnnews.com.
The new Christian film Beyond the Mask has all the makings of a great action movie, heroes, villains, special effects, and more.
Charlie Nairon recently talked with the cast and crew about the message of grace, liberty, and redemption.
While the highly anticipated movie Beyond the Mask is set in colonial times, it offers a mixed bag of modern stunts and explosions.
I'm here at the premiere for the Christian movie Beyond the Mask, which is breaking barriers in the film industry by taking a movie about faith into the action and adventure arena.
Call the shot, Mr. Brand. One last time.
Andrew Chaney plays Will Reynolds, a former assassin hoping to rehabilitate his reputation.
You have a guy who's in search of himself and trying to right the wrongs of his past.
Kara Kilmer of NBC's Chicago Fire plays Charlotte, Reynolds' love interest.
She brings something unique that's uniquely feminine and uniquely her to the table, and that's kind of what helps to balance out her and William.
Cousins Chad and Aaron Burns produced and directed the film.
Well, you know, Aaron and I really like action-adventure movies, and so we wanted to make a film, the kind of film that we like to watch. And so that's what we set out to do. And Beyond the Mask is an action-adventure movie. It's got a lot of elements that are not typically in a Christian film.
The former homeschoolers wanted the movie to showcase their love of U.S. history. Historical depictions such as the signing of the Declaration of Independence and scenes with Benjamin Franklin are included in the film. Stephen Kendrick of Fireproof and Facing the Giants fame helped mentor these young filmmakers through the script writing process. They now hope to inspire a new generation of moviegoers.
We want to reach young people because as this is the theme that God has really taught us in our hearts, these themes of identity and these themes of justification, the themes of hope through relationship with Him.
You are the man that I need there.
I'm done.
You mean that?
Yes.
John Rhys Davis, known for his roles in blockbusters like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Lord of the Rings, plays Sir Charles Kent of the British East India Company. He says the film's compelling script drew him to the project.
It's a good action adventure, and I like swashbuckle. Love the script.
Earlier this year, an advanced showing of the film opened at a record-setting 444+ theaters nationwide. Yet the message is what these filmmakers hope stands out above all.
Neither redemption or love can ever be earned.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News, Detroit, Michigan.
The swashbuckling drama will be opening tomorrow in 100 cities across the country. And you can see more of Charlene's interviews with the cast and crew on cbnnews.com. We'll be right back.
It is the weekend, so that means it is time for our regular family-friendly movie reviews with Bob Waliszewski. He is with Focus on the Family's entertainment review department called Plugged In Online. Bob, so Entourage, Spy, and Insidious are the big movies out today, but I know you're giving them a thumbs down on your reviews on your website. So let's hit a film that has been a bit of a slow burner. Tell us about Far From the Madding Crowd.
Yeah, it's been out a couple weeks. It's actually number 8 on the list of box office top 10. So it's, like you said, it's a slow burner. It's coming along. It's based on a book that was released in 1874 by Thomas Hardy. In essence, it's a story of 3 men in love with a very independent woman who owns a farm in the 19th century. And 2 guys you could tell would probably be good for her if she chose either one of those guys. But there's one guy that's a total jerk. And of course, who's she going to choose? The total jerk. I say I like this film. It's because by the time the credits roll, there's resolution in a satisfactory sort of way. And yet, I think the film gives us quite a bit to talk about here. We gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 for family friendliness. Thinking teens on up, I think it has potential.
All right, well, no, there is another PG-13 film out today in limited release about the lead singer of the Beach Boys. It's called Love and Mercy. For viewers who have this one playing in their city, what'd you think?
Boy, I will be very honest here and say that I found the film interesting. I was not aware of this story, and purportedly, Brian Wilson himself saw the film and said it was pretty accurate about his life. Anyway, it delves into his mental illness, his drug use, his second marriage. By the time the credits roll, we actually are getting to somewhat of a happy ending. I wish they would have backed it up and given us the happy ending about maybe 20 minutes before the film ended and shown us a little bit more of the bright spots in Brian's life instead of all the yuck that we kind of go, oh, this is awful. Because again, he went through a really tough period and a lot of years. And but I think from a family perspective, one of the things that really concerned us, we gave this one a 2.5, was numerous misuses of our Savior's name. Just can't recommend Love and Mercy.
All right, well, maybe it is a great weekend to stay at home. What about the small screen? Anything on television?
Yeah, I want to say that on NBC, we have, I think it's episode 10 of AD from Mark and Roma. So and if you've missed all the others, it's still a good series. But on the Hallmark channel, they're signed, sealed, delivered from Paris with Love. Hallmark was running this as a TV series, but then they quit and said, no more TV series. We're going to make it into, we're just going to tell the story in our Hallmark movie segment. So this is a movie this Saturday night, so tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, I believe. And I like this film. And even for people who've never seen one Signed, Sealed, and Delivered, you could jump right in this movie and like it. And I thought it was well done.
I saw it, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Thank you, Bob.
You bet. We'll talk next week.
And finally this Friday, a positive message to uplift you as you head into the weekend. We call it our Friday Faithful. Write this on the pages of your heart today. Be bold, be brave, be courageous. You exist for the world to see Jesus, and people can accept or reject a Jesus they cannot see. And his light is not small. In the words of a younger generation, turn up for the God in you and make this a fabulous Friday.
Remember, I can do all things through
Yes.
Christ who strengthens me.
You got it.
Well, that's it for now on CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
We'll see you Monday.